Or a lot.
Yeah. Get you a booster seat or something.
I know. Here, I can sit up like this, but you're still shorter than you. Oh, that's great.
I'm wider than you. So. Oh man, we already got people in here.
Yeah, people are ready to go this morning.
Yeah, they're motivated, they might say.
That's right.
Yeah, clarification, motivation, not motivation.
I like both.
Yeah. I like motive stuff too, though.
I do look shorter than normal.
What's up?
Morning, John.
Yeah, I was actually throwing motive stuff exclusively before I signed my contract. So.
You at least had a Venom shock, right?
I never got to throw a Venom shock.
Wow.
Because I started transitioning stuff, I think, right as it came out. I think it came out right in the middle of 2014.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Something like that. So.
Sounds about right.
And I didn't need anything else with what I had,
right.
so.
Yeah, because I don't remember exactly. You had a set number of balls that you just pretty much packed everywhere and threw.
Covert Revolt, a Sigma Tour, and a Silver Tribal.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
all I needed for everything.
Morning, Clint.
So.
Yeah, you pretty much were set then. Happy 2 days before Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If you're interested in that.
The stomping.
Curious to see everybody's predictions in the chat here if they have a rooting interest in
Yeah, if you got Super Bowl predictions, just going ahead and put them down. That could be a little.
Not that it's on topic, but I just want to see everybody's thoughts there.
Yeah.
Who do you think's gonna win?
Unless there's some kind of catastrophe, if the Bucks win, then that's just that's just complete evidence of the Brady gate for his entire career.
Yeah, I can see that. From Florida, is it nice and warm down there, Richard?
And I have no problems with Brady.
There you go. We got our first Bucks pick there.
Bucks. Woof. 31-20. Unless something goes horribly, horribly wrong, our offense is better than their offense.
Yeah.
And
I think we're looking more like a 21-24 type game. Similar to the last game they played.
Yeah, it's probably going to be closer than I think it's going to be, but I could see it being like 31-17 or 31-24. But I don't think it's going to be. I think that they're going to cover the spread or whatever the
3.5.
Yeah, I would.
Nice and warm down there in Florida. Good morning, everyone. Morning, Scott.
Yep. So
should be a good chat this morning. Got the cat. That's great.
Yeah, Bat Cat.
Bat Cat, and I've got the
Brady
Michigan
better not win.
muscle shirt on this morning.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. KC in a blowout. If it's not KC in a blowout, then Brady obviously paid somebody off. That's all I have to say.
That's all I have to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
Anyhow, we want to thank. I want to thank Mr. James Niffen, hashtag or site, whatever, Shimwrecker Enterprises for today's topic, because last week I couldn't come up with anything. We didn't bowl, so didn't have a chance to screw anything up. And
yeah, it should be a good one. Should be a good one.
Yeah, it'll be fun. If nothing else, and maybe we can. I'm sure we'll find some kind of something from that to talk about next Friday.
Oh, I have no doubt, because we do have a tournament this weekend.
Yeah, we do have a tournament this weekend, and it's at Lunar.
We haven't bowled there in a while.
So that'll be fun. Yeah. The house shot there never goes well, so we'll have to.
On either side of the lane, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, yeah.
Money race to this movement support. Oh, cool.
Yep, no problem. So yeah, anybody that's watching, follow Blackheart Traveler on Instagram. There's traveling photos, and like you said, the money raised through the general movement is to go to the Brain Aneurysm Foundation. So just follow them and like the posts and whatever else. It's some pretty cool stuff. So
let everybody filter in. We got 22 in here, so it looks like we can.
We can kick her off here.
We can get started. Go for it.
Brady paid somebody instead of deflating the footballs this time. No, I think that this will be on the up and up, and I think that it's in the NFL's, and everybody's saying that the games are rigged or whatever. I think it's in the NFL's interest to kind of pass the torch to Mahomes too. So if Kansas City doesn't win, I'd be really, really surprised.
Oh, I would be too.
A numerous amount of angles. So
I just enjoy the Super Bowl because no rooting interest for me, even being from Kansas City. I'm not a Chiefs fan, so good way to play side bets. Cases of beer is always fun.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that is kind of an interesting side note, is that if you don't really care who wins, it's easier, number one, to be objective about the calls in the game, because everybody's, no matter what happens, somebody's going to get screwed, or the refs missed this or they missed that,
and you get commercials.
So Yep.
All right, you want to fire us off here?
Yep. So Mr. James Niffen / Shimwrecker Enterprises suggested motivation as a topic, because that's something that I think everybody struggles with from time to time. It's really hard to make yourself do something when you don't really feel like doing it.
True.
But when you do feel like something, when you do really want to do something, it's like nothing can really stop you from it.
Nothing's going to stop you. You're doing it whether you want to or not.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Like, even though I've been home for the last couple months, I haven't really found the motivation to get out and practice. Now, I've been bowling enough between leagues and tournaments. We've had so many. We got league 2 nights a week, and then we had tournaments, and I've had several different video shoots and whatever else. And even though I could use 7-pin practice and you could use 10-pin practice, and but you're bowling 3 nights a week. So
3 nights a week, yeah. Every once in a while, I'll sneak in a Wednesday, and I'll get some practice in. But it's kind of hard when you're bowling 3 nights a week with tournaments on the weekend to find the motivation to go want to practice. So
sometimes you can over practice too. Like if you're frustrated, and that generally the thing is, it's really interesting that I was thinking about the whole bowling thing the other day, and James is talking about kind of going a different direction on his channel, and we're going to have a live stream kind of talking about that here pretty soon.
You said James is talking about going a different direction?
Yeah, James is going to a different direction. Instead of kind of being like a ball review channel, he's going to go more the direction of kind of what we're doing on he wants to do more topic driven conversations and kind of deeper behind the scenes stuff, instead of just the kind of repetitive, because everybody's doing ball reviews now, and he's still going to keep doing it, but he's just going to change kind of the lens.
Right.
And we've been talking about several different ideas for videos, and people keep suggesting things to me, but everyone's version of right can be different in bowling. Like, what's right for you to do may not be right for me to do, or somebody else, or whatever else. And
that's very true. Yeah.
So there's a few constants, or a few things that are quoted. It's just about like using a big hook monster and saying, oh, the lanes, if you're on a short pattern, well, you shouldn't use a ball that hooks a bunch, because those are for heavier, longer patterns. It's like, well, sometimes, depending on your game and what you like to see and what you like to do, bowlers will use ridiculously strong balls on shorter patterns or drier patterns, kind of counting on them to roll like a stronger ball, but kind of burn up and die. And that's what I was talking to somebody else about the promotion yesterday, is that I got another one. Thanks, Jeremy Hirschman, for
you got another one.
Yeah.
Is it blank?
Yeah. So the Pro Shop had one and couldn't move it or something like that, and so he had one somewhere.
Heck yeah.
But
there you go. Cool.
Got a new promotion, and it doesn't really settle in or get to the sweet spot until about 50 games, because it's pretty strong but really smooth out of the box. And so if you just throw it, it kind of settles and settles and settles and settles, and then it gets to this nice place where it's like stronger urethane, or kind of what.
So it's pretty smooth in general, isn't it?
Yeah. Or like Anthony Simonson carries around some older idols that have a lot of use on them, so that they still kind of roll like an idol, but they're a whole lot tamer and smoother and more controllable. And or the kind of dead ball syndrome, where you kind of let them die or settle in or get a bunch of use on them, so that they still roll the same, but they don't have that aggression on friction. And so the promotion's kind of the same way. And it's one of those things where you just kind of let it settle and let it get there, and then kind of it is what it is. And so you can use it in different situations than you would, otherwise use it in. So the roundabout way of getting to, right in bowling can be all kinds of different things for all kinds of different people. There's very few actual constants. So when you're trying to show something off, or you're trying to recommend something to somebody, it's really hard for somebody to, what layout should I put on this ball or whatever. I mean, besides the ridiculous amount of variables, it's like, well, your version of right, or how you see ball reaction, or how you see ball motion, or whatever else can be. Like James and I don't see it really anywhere close, but we've kind of learned now how to kind of talk to each other, or what, give an opinion through the other one's lens. And so he knows what I like, he knows what I like to see. And so if I bounce an idea off of him, he doesn't give me his opinion from his perspective. He gives me his opinion from my perspective.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's good.
And so again, another roundabout way to say that motivation is very different for a lot of different people. Some people like Shannon O'Keefe and Verity Crawley have that kind of relentless determination to just get up and grind and push through it, no matter whether they're feeling like it, no matter whether they're not feeling like it. I'm totally the opposite way. If I don't feel motivated or into doing something, there's zero value that's going to come out of it, because I am just not going to engage with it on any level. So if I don't feel the drive or the motivation to do something, I'm like, well, why am I doing it in the first place? And I think at a certain point, their motivation is not to just go get out and bowl. Their motivation is for, their career, their job, their passion to get out and do the dirty work,
to get a paycheck.
So that they can. So it's kind of a sideways motive. It's not necessarily that they have a desire to get out and do drills endlessly. It's that they have a desire to do what those drills are going to help them do.
Right.
It's kind of like the motivation to go to work or whatever else. I had plenty of motivation when Angel and I got married, and we're just flat broke for years and years to just get out and
make that money.
Neither one. She worked for the DMV for a little while, and then she was the Shawnee County tax manager.
Right.
But can you think of a more depressing job or place than to go deal with property taxes, or you're renewing your...
You're talking about the DMV?
Yeah.
No thanks.
I mean, it's depressing enough when you're in there for just the hour, how long you take your ticket, and then you sit there and you wait. And
everybody's in a bad mood when they have to be there.
Everybody's in a bad mood. Everybody's waiting. Everybody's taking time out of their day. Have to go pay their property taxes, and most of the time...
She said, hey, I like working there.
Yeah. Well, because she's somewhat of a sadist, but I digress.
I'm not hurt.
Yeah, after 2, I quit. I went plus 140 the back 2 last night.
Well, if you include the last game of the other night, put it all together, you actually had a pretty good all around 2 days.
Yeah. Well, I had a pretty good week, actually. If I can get rid of the...
Can't forget Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you stopped that. Helping people. I'm kind of hard to find motivation to even go bowl tonight, just because I bowled so many days this week.
Yeah. Because we're actually gonna... I'll get you guys talked into Norseman on Saturday instead of that city nonsense. So.
We're not bowling city. We already not going to city. So.
All right. Well.
I decided that.
Angel wants her potatoes, so.
Hey, you stop that. I like
it. Have to. Yeah.
Potatoes are delicious.
But no. Okay, so she liked her job. She didn't like the pay. It didn't pay a whole lot. And then
that doesn't surprise me.
My job that I was at was working outdoors for 70 somewhat hours a week.
And your gender.
Yeah, exactly. And not getting paid that much. And they intentionally didn't pay people very much at that job to get them to want to work overtime, because nobody's going to want to work or volunteer or even put up with it to come in, because it was job based. So
were you just like a laborer or something, or?
I was construction inspection.
Ugh.
And so, yeah. So if they needed me out at 3 a.m. for a concrete pour, there was even one down by the Target distribution center. They built a Home Depot distribution center, and that was my that was my project. So it's over
there by where Walmart and all that's going now.
I'm not sure if but it's down there. It's just right north where the Target distribution center is on 58th Street or whatever. 58th
okay.
and Topeka.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
just
I know what you're talking about.
the Home Depot is just north of that.
I got you. Sorry.
But it was a $250 million project, 1 million square foot job site.
Okay.
And I was it was my job, so to speak, or, I had to either test everything or organize certain testing and kind of manage the testing and inspection for the whole site. And I was making $10.50 an hour.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
There was one day that they were busy enough that they couldn't cover. I had a midnight concrete pour, which they had been, once we started pouring concrete, they had to pour there was something like 6,000 or 7,000 yards of concrete that went into just the building slab.
That's a lot of concrete.
And then they had
a lot of concrete.
And then they had the frickin' all the pavement and whatever else.
Got to do all the footings and everything like that.
Yeah, they had to do the footings were not bad, but then they had the building pad, and then they had all the stuff around it, and then they did tilt-up panels for the walls, which basically they kind of laid out the walls in sections. So if you ever seen those big box buildings that look like they have, panels, and then they have seams, and so it looks like they have several different.
They've got forms. They're putting up forms to do the walls.
Yeah. Right? So what they do is they do that once they get the building pad done, then they kind of lay out the wall on the building pad, and then they spray some kind of non-stick that basically spray Crisco on the frickin' the floor, the building, the slab for the building, and then they pour the walls, and then the walls have hooks in them, so they use a giant crane to then, once the walls have cured, then they pick the walls up and stand them straight up and set them. And so it's kind of interesting. But we had so I worked from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. one night, and then they told me, well, we don't have anybody to cover I was working the day shift from 12, 13 hours a day.
Yeah.
And then they were having somebody else do the night pours, because that's what they were doing, is they were setting up stuff during the day, and then they do the pours at night. And so they didn't have anybody for that midnight pour, and so I worked from 6 a.m. to 6. So I worked 12 hours during the day, and then I had to come in for my midnight concrete pour. So I basically got to go home long enough to eat and shower and take a 2-hour nap, and then get back to the site. But then they didn't have anybody to cover me for the following day, and so I did the midnight concrete pour, which was 1,000 yards. It takes about 10 hours. 100 yards an hour is pretty good, but when it's paving, it's a whole lot easier.
And they were pumping it, right?
No, they were able to just, because it wasn't the building pad. They had to, they were able to just drive the trucks. It was big enough. I think it was 200. The building pad itself was 250,000 square feet.
My goodness. Sorry.
When they're pouring pavement, they did about 1,000-yard sections, and if you're doing 100 yards an hour, that's pretty solid, because that's 10 concrete trucks every 60 minutes.
It's just a lot of concrete.
Just batching it out, and so keeping up with that and getting it done. So we got done with that about 10 a.m. and then of course I had to work the rest of the day. so I worked 30 some odd hours at $10.50 an hour, and
also you eventually catch a second wind there and you're good to go. But
anyhow, that's a good point. Motivation dwindles, habits don't. That is a good point.
Happy Friday, James.
Started flossing.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
Oh heck, I forgot today's Friday.
Yeah, and it's even your topic.
Yeah, man. Come on now. Slacking.
But anyway, for a long time, I had the motivation to just be good at things. I didn't really have I'm one of those people that I don't really care so much, or I didn't used to really care so much what I was doing. I just wanted to be good at it. I just wanted to be valuable, because we talked about the whole growing up thing, and I was a grade ahead, and so I was always younger and smaller and whatever else, and so I was the last one that got picked for everything and whatever else. And so I'm like, well, I'm not good at playing sports, or not big enough to play sports, at least not that well, but I am good at other things. And so I just wanted to kind of prove my worth or prove my value. And so it wasn't necessarily make money so that we could.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
buy food.
Angel says today, folks, we're
Yeah.
having a concrete lesson in bowling ball talk here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But even though that really sucked, you know, and then there was also one point before Angel and I got married where I had 3 jobs. I was working in a hospital taking food trays to patients, and then I worked overnight at a Dillon's stocking shelves, and I worked in the pro shop.
Ugh.
And so there was one day that I worked like 34 out of 35 hours, and the only 2 hours I wasn't working was when I was driving from one job to the next to the next.
Oh.
So I think I worked a pro shop shift from noon to no. I worked a hospital shift from 4 p.m. to 7:30/8. Went home, got changed, went to Dillon's from 10 to 8 or 10 to 6 or something like that. And then I had to work a morning shift at the hospital, which was like from 6 to 2. And then I ended up going and working at the pro shop from 2 to 8 or something like that. So it was.
You probably would have been running on fumes, I can imagine.
Oh, no. That's when I had just started at Dillon's, and we had a big truck that night. So I worked from like 10 p.m. to 10:30 a.m. And so I had enough time to run home and shower and get something to eat. And then
you were going to school on top of that, huh?
Yeah, that was kind of, I had actually, there was a point where after that I was still working at Dillon's, but I was going to school. So I was going from school from 8 to noon.
Gosh. I don't know how you were even like able to walk.
I don't know. That's the thing. There was one story that I had one time about, I woke up one time and the alarm clock was going off. It was pitch black, and I'm hearing it go off, and I'm like, I'm way too tired for this. And so I slapped the alarm clock and nothing happens. I slapped the alarm clock and nothing happens. And so finally I just picked the thing up and throw it across the room. The alarm clock's still going off, but it's not across, the sound isn't across the room. And so finally I figured out it's the other alarm clock that's going off.
So you gotta crawl over.
And so it was the wrong alarm clock. So I shut that off, and then I'm kind of laying there, and by now I'm so pissed.
You just wake up.
Yeah, I'm so pissed. It's like, well, I'm awake now. But I laid there and I'm like, I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. I don't know why it's dark. I don't know why my alarm clock was even set. And I literally had to get up and turn the TV on. This is back when you had to turn the TV on to find out the news, because you couldn't just pull it up on your phone.
Yeah.
I had like a little push button Nokia phone or something. But there was the, motivation to get things done, or there were so many people that just pissed and screwed away their 20s, or I'm like, well, I'm not going to be that. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to whatever else. But I think we were talking, maybe I want to talk about direction. Because I didn't really have any direction. I was working hard to just work hard, and everybody's saying, well, you gotta work hard and you got to do the right thing. Well, I mean, if you're not putting that in any certain direction, it's just, well, I'm showing up at work and I'm working hard and I'm.
Yeah, because the motivation to go to work and work hard isn't always going to pay off. You've got to have, like you said, you've got to have a sense of direction.
Yeah, if there's no direction, you're not working in any. I mean, it's like somebody digging a hole. It's like, well, I'm working hard.
I can dig this hole as hard as I want. But
okay, well, why are you digging the hole? I'm working hard.
Well, it's not going anywhere.
Okay, that's nice. Congratulations, good for you.
Very nice hole.
Anyhow, yeah. Anyhow, gosh, we were talking about motivation or something. It's a roundabout way of getting there.
Yeah, we were still talking about it.
Yeah. But anyway, but now that gotten a little bit older, it's kind of like, well, I'm not ever going to go join the tour. Granted, we bowl a lot of tournaments, and I would like to make more money at the tournaments, but how much work am I going to have to put into the bowling to make an extra couple bucks? And do I want to, I mean, we have so much fun at the tournaments just going to bowl.
Yeah. Yep. And it's not like they're $200 entries.
Yeah. And so it's something where we can,
It can be if you really want them to be.
But no, we can go hang out and we can bowl, and a lot of them kind of turn into vacations. Like any excuse we get to go down to Wichita or something, it's kind of like, okay, well, bowling is the excuse to get us down to Wichita so that we can just go hang out and eat a few things. And when we otherwise just kind of be like, well, what do we do between eating and eating? So the bowling is between the eating and the eating.
There are a lot of fun things to do in Wichita anyways besides bowling. But
yeah. But it's kind of like, well, how hard do I want to push it? And normally when I get too into something, I fry out over it. Yep. And I'm kind of in that nice spot right now to where it's obviously frustrating when I because I missed a 7-pin last night in the middle of not striking for the first 6 frames of the first game last night. I mean, it wasn't for not hitting the pocket, but I wasn't quite in the right spot. And then I got tapped a couple times, and I hadn't missed a 7-pin in a couple weeks, and I missed one of those right out the gate. So everything was just going bad. And so I was pissed, not pissed enough to go out and practice, because then I just, I just struck the rest of the night so that I wouldn't leave those pesky little pins that you have to
save to miss,
throw a second ball at. But it's like, how serious do I have the motivation to actually get out and bowl, or where, again, it's what is the direction here? And that's something that the direction is something I've kind of learned to look for. And it's like, well, I can just go out and practice a whole bunch, but what could I spend my time doing otherwise?
Yep.
How much time am I going to have to spend to get it to this certain point? And they're just a bunch of
even if you get yourself geared up a bit to go practice, you still need to have a good practice regime anyways. Just going and throwing a ball and repeating bad habits is never going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, and that's also my thing, is that if I'm not engaged and I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, then it's just because I don't have the motivation of going to bowl PBA stuff or regionals or the TAT or anything super high level. It's just going to be local stuff and leagues and your odd house shot tournament and then nationals. But we bowl on sport patterns or challenge patterns often enough, and I'm just going to throw urethane at nationals for 9 games. So I don't really need to practice.
Really doesn't matter what side you're on.
Don't really need to practice piping it up the 5 board with a pitch black.
Or a fast pitch in here. In like Swiss Trio's case.
Yeah. But anyhow, so where people have motivation in one certain direction, if I don't, I don't, my motivation has kind of changed a little bit to why push so hard in some certain angle or certain direction if you don't know where it's going to end up, or if you don't have direction. If I don't have direction for something, it's like, why even do it? Because I would rather be doing something else. And I think we're getting into more of a slower time of life, I guess, because the kids are gone, or just about gone.
Yeah,
jobs are pretty stable. Yep. Everything's pretty okay. The bowling thing is fine. It's fun having our own pro shop to go play with out there. So we're kind of getting to the point where we can do a little bit more of what we want to do rather than kind of what we have to do just to get through the day.
Yep.
And so the motivation has changed from, survival mode to, okay, well, now we can pick and choose a little bit more. And what exactly are we going to pick and choose? But there are some people that, regardless of that, some people have different motivations for what they want to do.
Yeah, that's very true.
So it's hard to tell somebody to find motivation from some certain angle or direction when that may not be necessarily what motivates them. You might have to look in some very odd places to find motivation.
Yeah, you can also look at even just on the bowling side, say you're at league or tournaments, and there's got to be something, other than money being on the line that motivates you in a tournament too. Sometimes a rival motivates you. There's somebody that you don't, care for too much that you always want to beat.
Yeah. It's like, I don't care if I cash. I just want to beat that guy.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways, different places you can put motivation, whether it be getting motivated to go to work or being motivated to go, like we were talking, you can take it in a lot of different ways. So I'm just rambling there. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I've been rambling for 30 minutes now. So.
I just popped in the brain, so I thought I'd spew it out there. Sorry.
But yeah, we were talking about the whole positive negativity thing a couple weeks ago, and I think that's the best source of motivation. Why a lot of people have trouble finding motivation now is because their society has kind of removed a lot of motivation for kids when they're young, because everybody gets a the participation trophy thing. Everybody gets a medal or a ribbon or a prize or something, and so you kind of get complacent, thinking, well, I don't really have to. I mean, I can get stuff without really having to do anything, and so I think that what that does is it, removes a lot of bad feelings and negativity, but that is the motivation that also robs you of a bunch of motivation that propels you to, better things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I get that. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. Shot my high sanction series against a very big that guy last week.
Beat him game 1, 99-80. Nice. Oh. Heck yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Richard, I was on the PGA Tour, and in order to get there and qualify, I would get up at 7 a.m. to go work the pro shop, to 4 p.m. run out and play 18, then in the dark hit 100 balls from 150 yards with my car lights on. Yeah, it's kind of funny because Bob Benoit,
driven there.
Yeah, Bob Benoit lives here in town, and he was a touring pro in the 80s. He actually rebuilt his entire game because he used to be kind of a straighter player.
Masters champion, wasn't he?
I don't remember.
He's got a major.
Okay, I know he's got 4 titles.
One of them's a major.
Okay.
And I think he's got 300 on TV too, doesn't he?
Yeah, that was his big thing, because the first time he was ever on TV, he was the high qualifier, and he shot 300 against Mark Roth.
You got me driven to figure that one out.
And Mark Roth shot 250 something, and this is in 1986 or 7 or something like that, right, with frickin' urethane. And but the thing is, several years ago, I think now, when they had the 50th or the PBA's 50th anniversary or something, they sent out, for the Tournament of Champions, they sent out invites to everybody that had ever won a PBA tournament, period.
Yep.
I think that's the thing. That's how Kelly Kulick got, because she'd won a PBA regional.
That's exactly
one of the
one she won too.
One of the women's series or something. Yep. And so, yeah, that's the one that she won. And Bob's like, I'm not going to go. And he was, he wasn't taking, he was just kind of just did the league thing and wasn't taking it super serious. And he's one of those guys that can really get into it exactly like Richard was saying, to where you just practice and practice until your hands fall off. But he's like, you know what? He's like, I'm not going to go just to go. If I'm going to go, I want to actually compete or feel like I have a chance to win. I'm not just going to go blow money for a nice experience. He's like, I can just go hang out and get the same, and not have to bowl and get the same thing. But he's like, in order to get ready for that, I'd have to bowl 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for a solid month before I'd feel comfortable going out there. And well, you used to be a pro, and that's a little excessive. And it's like, well, no, it's really not.
Yeah, and so that's hard work to be out there.
Yeah, and so that's one of those things. Is number one, most people don't understand what it takes to begin with. You can't just go.
Tour life has changed so much compared to what he was back when he was still going strong. Lane play's different, rev rates are different, ball speeds are different. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so aside from just the physical practice, that's what.
And the bowling balls are different.
Yeah, that's what he wanted to do, just to get physically sharp enough. But therein lies the motivation. If you want to be, if you want to be the best, you kind of have to do the dirty work, and that is motivation enough in itself. Because most people think, "Oh God, that sounds awful," but it could be pretty cool when you just are focused, when you're just laser focused on something else, and think, you know what, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to get through it, and then it's because you got your eyes on in a different direction.
Speaking of like the tour life, that's just what people don't understand. Is it's such hard work just to even get there, to be good enough to even just compete, let alone just to catch a check.
Yeah,
it takes a lot of hard work.
Well, on the show a couple of weeks ago that Simo had said, so Simo's lost a lot of weight.
Ton of weight.
He practices a whole lot more now. He seems a little bit better put together, and he said on the show, he's like, well,
started practicing.
Yeah, he's like, well, I've had a lot of success already, and he's like, the few times, when I'm not having success, it's lack of sharpness, lack of practice, whatever else. And so he's like, well, I just needed to
practice.
Yeah, to kind of get up there and stay up there. Just needed to put more work in, and so he made the decision, and that was his motivation. Was, because he obviously does fine where he was at, but
and he's managing a bowling center now, I think.
Yeah,
that's what I heard. He doesn't own it, does he? I can't remember if he owns it or if he's managing a bowling center.
I'm not entirely sure there.
But yeah, he slimmed down quite a bit. It's funny that he says, all it took for me to practice. I'm like, here he goes.
Yeah.
He's just going to run the table this year.
Played soccer at a fairly high level. Played semi-pro at 16 in college as well. Would do 4-day sessions, just grinding. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta do what you gotta do.
I mean, that's what you have to do to be good at something. So.
The nerd.
The bowling side of the nerd in Vegas. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome name. Cool. Sorry.
No.
Topic there.
Oh.
I find it funny that he literally says, "Oh, all I did was be successful this week. It's practice." I'm
okay.
Like,
so now that we've rambled about really nothing for 35 minutes. So what can you do to kind of find motivation? And I think a lot of times motivation comes from being, I just lost the word, unhappy with your current situation or with something that's going on.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things is there's a lot of people that are, if they're frustrated about something, they'll run right to Facebook and post a sob story post and get a lot of, support and make themselves feel better about something. But then once you kind of feel better about something, then it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm okay now. I don't need to fix it or don't need to worry about it or whatever.
Yeah.
But you need to have motivation. Is a very emotional thing because you have strong feelings one way or another about something. It's very hard, I think, to get mentally motivated to do something. You can make a mental decision to do something or to make something a habit or to just say, I'm going to do this whether I feel like it or not, because this is just what it's going to be. But motivation in and of itself is a very emotional thing. And so and that's most of the time what puts people over the top instead of just kind of doing the robotic going through the motions thing. And if you are emotionally invested into something, you're going to get a whole lot more out of it, or it's going to be a whole lot better use of your time, especially like I said, I'm not going to go, if I'm not feeling like I want to go bowl, then practice is not going to do me any good because I'm just going to kind of get through it. And I'm going to be mad that I'm there the entire time. And I'm not going to be thinking about, at this point especially, I'm not going to be thinking about, okay, well, this is going to get me that extra 7-pin in league and whatever else. And so it's,
sorry, that was pretty good.
Yeah. It's like, well, I mean, I'm going to be upset that I missed it, but.
Good question. Todd, any thoughts on motivation driven by purpose?
Yes. Aside from personal gains, yes, so the motivation to do a frickin' bowling channel, even though it costs a whole bunch of time and a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
And the motivation continues to be the people that watch the videos and support. It is pretty cool to give some stuff away here every once in a while, or help out, or like the.
It gives you motivation to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like with our, and I need to promote the Panda Pack patches a little bit more. I actually got my heckin' urethane shirts done. I'm gonna grab one of those. I should have worn one of those. That's what Batcat was calling to me.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You're gonna give me the awkward silence here again?
Yeah. We're gonna.
Aside from first game, motivational I guess I can sit here in the comments for a second.
Yeah.
Which I got some Panda Pack patches in the mail the other day.
Yeah.
Hey guys, give him the awkward treatment here again. He's leaving me. Let's see here. Motivation personal gains. What helps pick a specific goal and grind that. Matt, I agree with that 100%, because without a goal, it's hard to get motivated to do something. Luke's merch. There, Shim just posted the link for the Bowling Labs merch for Luke, which has the Panda Pack patches, the heckin' urethane shirts that he is actually bringing down as we speak. And does it have the Storm Rotor Grip bowling balls for sale on the back of that?
Yep.
Or okay, you put the patch on there.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, Nikki sent me a bunch of patches.
Doing a big U.S. National Junior Team
Challenge
like
tournament
soon. And I'm nervous. Any advice?
No.
Just keep your head on, make your spares, and yeah.
Don't be nervous.
Just stay calm. Make spares. Spares are huge.
I think that's the one thing is all these cliches that they get on TV. It's, well, I'm just going to try to take it one shot at a time and make my 10 best shot or my 12 best shots and see what happens. And it's like, well, it's really the only thing that you can do is that people have, because I've actually had several shots now at 300. I would have had one last night. Left a stone 10 in the 9th frame.
Sorry, man, no, wasn't great advice, but spares are huge, I promise.
Well, and that's the idea is that people, oh my gosh, are you nervous on your 300? It's like, well, yes, there is a little bit of pressure to kind of get the first lefty one out of the way, but once you've done it enough, the focus is just, well, if you bowl long enough, you know that no matter how good of a shot you make, you can still get screwed. You can ask Randy Peterson about that.
Yep.
But no matter how hard you try or how good you throw the ball, sometimes it's just not going to happen. So all you can really control is, and that's why, like Verity and Shannon do so many drills and are not focused so much on, they're focused on repetition. You can get the other stuff on the back end. You can figure out the ball reaction. You can figure out whatever else. But once you have repetition and consistency down, then it's just up to the lanes. And there's sometimes where if you can miss transition, or you can throw a shot that was good last time you threw it on that lane, and then all of a sudden it hooks too much.
You see Roberts. Oh,
yeah.
You're too kind, man.
Yeah.
We'll see you Sunday, I'm sure, buddy.
Yeah.
You want to show your shirt here?
Yep. So anyway, there's several times I've almost quit the bowling channel thing, and I've had to be talked back into it by several different people because it's a lot of time, it's a lot of money that I would rather be doing something else most of the time. But last year we helped raise $4,200 for Positive Tails, the dog rescue out of Kansas City, that the Panda Pack patches, you can find these on the loop.bowlinglabs.com.
James posted a link in the chat.
Yeah, I heard you talking about it. But we had these this logo design several years ago, but it was the Team Fish thing was out at the same time, and it didn't really have any kind of direction or idea beyond just kind of our own little group thing, and it felt a little sad to just be a bowling channel with like 5,000 subs and kind of have like our own group thing. So
yeah,
now we have a direction with it, with the Positive Tails KC rescue that we're kind of affiliated with. Actually, you guys sent the money in, but we were able to be in the position to where we could give some stuff away to kind of help raise the money, and saved a couple dogs' lives already. But yeah, this is of course, I have to put all my patches.
Yeah, as I say, those are patches.
But the second urethane shirt is also available on store.bowlinglabs.com. And so I had to put all my patches on here. I got a black and white one on the other one. The blue doesn't really match, but whatever. And then, of course, on the back, I've got my SRG BBFS patch stitched on the back there. So, but the Panda Pack patch, a portion of the proceeds does go to Positive Tails KC. And so we finally figured out kind of I had the idea to do a fundraiser for my wife's birthday last year, because she kind of likes, giving stuff away, and she took Tina 1 million diapers and whatever else.
Yeah, I saw her carrying that in. I was like, holy heck.
But yeah, so just instead of it being our little group kind of theme or group or something, actually the portion of the proceeds goes to the Positive Tails dog rescue in Kansas City, and there's an option on there to donate more. So plus that, and we've got hoodies, and we're gonna do some more stuff. We were just kind of
pull over and zip up, correct?
Yeah, pull over and zip up.
Yep.
And we were just gonna see how this stuff went. And so far, the t-shirts have been really popular. And that's the thing, is that hoodies are nice, but in the winter, you just kind of wear them in and you take them off. People are like, well, I want something I can actually bowl in. And so this is a t-shirt that I'm going to wear tonight, actually.
There you go. James, you're slacking.
Yeah.
He says, I keep forgetting to put a snort patch on.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing, is I've had these for like a month and a half. And I took them over to my mom's house to actually sew them on, because all these are stick on. I'm like, well, I don't want to put them through the washer, and so I just have I stick them on where I want them, and then my mom stitches them on.
Oh, okay.
So that they just
Didn't realize
don't.
the storm was, so
Yeah,
that's smart.
yeah.
Oh, you can see it
So,
there. Cool. She did a good job.
yeah, she does a great job.
Cool. She did a good job.
Yeah, she does a great job with the stitching on. So yeah, got them all stitched on, so I don't have to worry about them coming off or going through patches like crazy. No, Storm actually puts no pressure on me in any direction whatsoever, which is kind of nice in a way, and it's kind of not nice in a way. It's that's kind of a side. Well, especially since we're talking about motivation, it works. They do not micromanage at all. I hear they've got a lot of stuff going on, and I like to think that I just don't talk to them a whole lot because I'm not one of the problem children that they have to worry about. I like to think it's like, okay, well, he's fine on his own. We can worry about the bigger problems or their events or whatever else. And I have a rep to help me with all that stuff anyway, so I don't really need HQ. But he's kind of the same way. It's kind of like, well, he's like one of those good bosses that you have that just doesn't micromanage, doesn't breathe down your neck. It's like, just get your job done and we'll all be fine, and there's no reason to go out of our way to do anything. And the couple times that I have tried to quit, my wife's talked me out of it most of the time, but my rep talked me out of it one of the other times when my wife actually wanted me to quit.
Sorry, I don't know if that's funny, but it's just kind of funny how it circles back around.
Yeah. But it was, I mean, in the early days of the channel, it was 40, 45 hours a week. I've managed to cut that back to about 20 now.
Even just the staff, on the staff side without the videos, it's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, well, and the Facebook and the messages, and like anything, like when you're starting something up, you have to put in the work on the front end to get to a certain point. And so I wanted to make sure that I answered every question as quickly as possible, and so that when I wasn't working my 70 hours a week or whatever, and when I took over the pro shop, that's what I was doing too. I was working 6 to 3 at my day job, and then working the pro shop from 4 to 8. Well, 4 to 8 turned into 4 to 9:30, and then weekends and coming in on Sundays, and actually using vacation time at my other job to get to the pro shop by noon so that I could get stuff done, so that I could actually be able to help people out from the limited time I was in the shop. And yeah, please post the website to get the t-shirt, the patch, please. Yes.
James just did right there again in the bottom.
Store.bowlinglabs.com collection Luke, or you can go to luke.bowlinglabs.com, but that'll get you to the same place.
Cool.
But yeah, the t-shirt's cool. Everybody that's gotten them has been really happy with the quality so far.
They're really cool.
So they're cool. And then the patches, like I said, they're like I've shown before. The patches are, you think a patch or whatever. But I mean, these are big patches.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, these are pretty sizable patch. Normally, you think patches are
smaller.
They are
legit.
Something like
they are really nice.
Storm patch, but
Matt, no, that is not his full-time job. He doesn't. Yeah. He does not actually really work in the shop anymore.
No, the pro shop used to be my full-time or my and then YouTube kind of took over for that, but
and then some.
Yeah.
Bridge inspector for the state of Kansas.
Yeah.
This crazy guy likes to climb on bridges.
And so that's the other thing, is that I would be gone from Monday through Thursday, and then I would come home in time to pack up and go bowl league on Thursday. And then Friday I would go out and film for ball videos, and Friday night we'd have league. And then Saturday and Sunday I'd spend all my time in front of the computer editing videos and answering questions and whatever else. And then I'd go back out on the road on Monday. And so the wife naturally wasn't very happy that we never had any time to go out and do anything. And there wasn't in the bowling industry, there's always a whole lot more work than you get back out of it. So you have to find something else that you get out of it, rather than kind of monetary benefits. There's always going to be, the fringe benefits or the perks of one of those perks of the job thing. Even if the job sucks and doesn't pay well, you got to kind of focus on the perks of the other things. But
sometimes they're great, sometimes they're good.
So, and the other thing is, the couple times I've said, look, there's a whole lot more work than it's worth, and I just don't know how much longer I can do this. And they've said, well,
you're talking about the pro shop, right?
No, the Storm thing, the channel or whatever.
Right. Okay.
It's like, well,
sorry.
So I told them a few times, and they've said, well, you know what? We understand if life gets busy and you already have a job and a family and, you know, trying to answer people's questions all the time. If that's something that you know, feel like you need to do, then we'll miss that. We'll miss you, but you got to do what you got to do. So sometimes it kind of feels like they don't care whether I'm there or not. And other times it kind of feels like, well, but they're not pressuring me or trying to, you know, gaslight me or anything like that. It's kind of a, well, you know, you can be here as long as you want to be here. And if and when you want to leave, well, thanks. And
appreciate
you can
it.
go your own direction.
Yep.
So I have to find kind of my own motivation to stay here and keep doing this. And there's some videos I need to get out, but
I mean, it helps with the channel where you're being tied, no longer helping people in the shop, but you do a lot to help people just through this channel in general.
Yeah, and I think
and what you do with the patches and everything else, that, you know, it's good stuff, man.
Yeah, so we're finding ways to kind of, and now that, you know, Angel's actually able to bowl more tournaments. When we went to tournaments, it was just me most of the time because we couldn't, number one, we couldn't afford for both of us to bowl, and then she didn't really feel like she was able to bowl or wasn't terribly interested in it at the time. Yeah. She wanted to get better, and before she just went and, you know, dumped money or kind of donated. But now that I'm doing the lefty thing and actually feel like I'm throwing the ball better, I'm kind of excited to get out and bowl more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we had guinea pigs for a while.
Guinea pigs.
But anyway, so we found other directions to go with that. And plus, the bowling industry and bowling people just suck in general. I've always been and people think, well, you got the YouTube channel and you've got all this and you've got all that. Well, I was the little nothing guy just in a local pro shop in a local town bowling local leagues that was, you know,
from Topeka, Kansas.
From Topeka, which is even worse. So just, you good at me still? You get your bone? We've got a shelf of antlers over there that whenever they're dissatisfied with the antlers that are already spread all over the floor, they'll go get more antlers from the antler shelf. I know, baby. You're a good me still.
That's more rewarding with what we do. So motivation isn't on the front side; it's satisfaction on the other side for helping you do what we do. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's fantastic everything I do.
Mm-hmm. So, that's an example of motivation coming from something else than what we actually get out of it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, some people are thinking, well, and I've asked myself, I'm like, well, gosh, this costs us so much time and so much money. I could be putting this into a better direction. But when the channel first started making progress, I thought, well, I was looking towards, I'm like, okay, well, if we get somewhere, then, you know, we'll get more support from the company, which we have. And then that'll allow us to do other things and open up other avenues and maybe get into some different things that, you know, kind of opens doors. And so the motivation wasn't necessarily to just get a bunch of subs and get a bunch of views on ball commercials, basically. But at the same time, I don't really treat them as ball commercials. I try to treat them as kind of an extension of the pro shop. And some people don't understand that or don't get that. And they think, oh, well, you're just a company guy that's got to say good things about everything. No, there's some videos out there that were not terribly favorable.
Yeah. Very true.
And they kind of let me do that too. I don't hear anything like I based in my insight video, I basically said, well, it overlaps a bunch of other stuff in the line. It feels really redundant. I haven't heard a peep out of anybody. So, but there's also been other balls that I did the promotion. I have not shut up about the promotion since it came out. People are sick of it.
Right-handed or left-handed.
Yeah, I'm going to say I really, really like that ball.
Manuel, I don't think he has any plans on doing any tour stuff.
No.
There you have it.
Nope. That screws all kinds of things up because number one, we already have a couple guys on our nationals teams that have cards, and you can only have 2 bowlers per team. Plus, then I couldn't bowl doubles with Ramsden.
Yes, Matt, they did.
I couldn't bowl doubles with Ramsden, but I don't think I'm missing out there.
Yeah. Oh,
we love you, Rammy. If you're watching,
we'll see you Sunday, buddy. Probably tonight, probably actually. So does he have his card?
Yeah, he's got a card. Well, because you get a bunch of discounts on stuff. Just holding a card, whether or not you go and bowl the tour stuff. Yes, they did stop making the promotion a year ago, probably.
Almost, yeah. Yeah, because I bowled with him actually quite a few regionals back in 2007, 2008, something around there. So back when I actually bowled stuff, big stuff. How about that?
But so yeah, I'm still not entirely sure where the channel thing is going, but I keep putting out videos and they keep sending me balls to make videos with. And so we're going to keep making videos and we're going to keep getting more subscribers and we're just going to see what happens. So there's other things that we can do. And that's kind of where that kind of motivation lies, I guess.
And then we have these little Friday morning coffee talks where we talk about things. We talk about bowling.
Yeah, we ramble at a camera for a while.
A little bit of everything. Kick off your Friday for a weekend. So.
So
I'm just kind of here so I don't get fined. Sorry.
You got your hoof meastles. I know.
In the garage. I think you're right on that, Tobias. I really do.
Yeah, that's definitely freed up a whole lot of time. Because there's a lot of time that got kind of sunk into that.
But. Well, you don't have to travel. If you want to drill something, you just walk to your garage and just.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. But if I don't really feel like drilling a whole bunch of stuff anymore. It's fun to drill a bunch of new bowling balls until you realize that it's like, well, I already have stuff that works. Why do I want to drill other stuff to just kind of sit there? I can leave it on the shelf without holes in it. So I've got plenty of stuff to drill from now until the end of time without anything else coming out. But there's a new parallax coming out, which I'm pretty excited about. Anyhow,
that there is.
So we haven't really talked about motivational, but there are also things. Okay, so finding motivation is something that can push you over. That can kind of push you over the hump, because it's very nice to be able to have the ability to do something and just push through even when you don't really feel like doing it. Now, sometimes you can get to the middle of something. I don't really feel like going out and practicing, but I don't feel like leaving the house very much at all, period. But once I'm out there doing, it's like I can just sit here and I really enjoy movies and stories and books and whatever else. And so I can just kind of sit here in my own cocoon indefinitely. I started watching yesterday I started watching the movie Passengers. Got Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence about they're on a space station thing going to
I've seen that one.
A new home world or whatever else, and they have a meteor hit the thing, and so his pod accidentally wakes him up 90 years ahead of schedule or whatever, and he's like freaking out and lonely and just going ballistic, and I'm like, holy crap, an entire space station full of a bunch of stuff and whatever else, all to himself. And I'm thinking, like, this is the greatest thing ever. Like, this would be amazing.
Watch Martian, where he's living on Mars by himself forever.
Yeah, that would be rough because you'd actually have to do something. Like he actually had to struggle to survive. Yes, but if I wake up in Utopia, I'm the only one there. I'll be all right.
James has got a great question for you.
Yeah. Actually. Obviously, your motivation, your goals have changed over time. How's that impacted your mental process while bowling? It's impacted it. And I think I actually started to say something about that, and then I found a rabbit trail. But I have a lot more fun bowling now. Number one, because I'm not fighting my mechanics on every single shot. And like last night, where it didn't really go so well. Well, if I ever gave anything away right-handed, I probably wasn't going to get it back, because every shot was a struggle just to kind of get it in the right general direction. And every once in a while I'd pop in a good set, but it was more out of not giving anything away rather than actually making super quality shots. I don't know how many, I'd averaged 230, almost 240 the last couple right-handed years at Westridge, but it was hanging on by the skin of my teeth on every single shot, and just happening to just knowing where to get the ball and kind of how to roll it in what zone. It's just basically finding miss room and doing all the thinking on the front end of it, and then just hoping that I can get it close. Now, on the left side of the lane, I shot 190 last night, and I'm like, well, 10th frame I struck out, and I'm like, well, okay, I'm lined up now. And that's what I told him at the end of shooting 196. I said, well, I haven't missed 700 in several weeks now, and I don't plan on it being this week.
I don't plan on it.
And then not only did I shoot 700, I'm thinking, and in my brain, I'm thinking, well, gosh, I got to shoot 250 twice, or pop in a big game and whatever else.
60, 70, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, then I went 279, 260 something.
Yeah, because
so
the only set you didn't shoot 700, or even just this week was
singles. Singles.
Yeah, that's still 660.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, league, you're on a hot streak.
Yeah, so I've already shot 4 700s this week
on a heater.
So
sorry. I've only shot
three 700s, 4 sets, I think.
And you're gonna shoot another one tonight, so make.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot another 700 tonight. But it's that kind of relaxes you a little bit when you have confidence in your physical game, and it's good enough. I still have some yips or throw one out the window every once in a while, but I can kind of reset myself and do that. So the mental I want to be good at things, and when I really get into something, and Angel can say that even I've told people that you could give me a tennis ball and draw a circle on the wall, and within 10 minutes I'd be screaming at myself because I'd be trying to bounce it off this wall and that wall and get it in the middle of the circle, and if I can't do that, then I'm going to be upset. And it's just the idea of pushing myself.
I'm in. Let's try it.
Yeah. It's like the old Jordan and Bird commercials. Off the wall, off the rafters, nothing but net.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Back in the 80s.
But no, come home to a circle on the wall.
Yeah.
Tennis balls being thrown on the wall.
Number one, my mentals. I'm a whole lot more relaxed now. I'm not the motivation had always been wanting to kind of prove that I knew what I was doing, but when you threw it like I did right-handed, it's really hard for somebody to watch me and to go up to somebody and like, well, I think you're doing this wrong. It's the infamous, well, you average 170 in that league over there.
Yeah. And
when somebody watches me throw the ball, they're not thinking, wow, he throws it like that and shoots 230. He must really know what he's doing. It's like, God, he throws it like that and averages 230. That must be the easiest shot in the history of bowling shots. They don't actually think the opposite direction.
Right.
And so it's always very frustrating, especially having the YouTube channel. And it's partially why you never see my form in the videos. Part of it is nobody wants to watch the bowler. They just want to watch the ball anyway. So if you get the bowler out of the way, then everybody can just see the ball motion, which is what they want to see in the first place.
Correct.
And I didn't really want my form to be on camera anyhow.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
It all worked out. But it's really, for people that have seen me bowl, it's really hard for them to go, it's like, that's the guy with the YouTube channel, and that guy has a contract, and that guy is trying to tell me how to bowl. And it's
no different than Jacob Butcher walking into the PGA tournament for the first time.
Again, when you take somebody's money so many times, it's like, okay, whatever, that's different. But I was never going to. That's the thing, is he looks weird, but he can actually get stuff done, and I was just hanging on by the skin of my teeth all the time. The lefty thing has actually relaxed me now, because I mean, just even if I would have been a career 200 bowler, that's just going to be impressive to people. Number one, just that I can even do anything with the opposite hand to begin with, let alone actually have success, or let alone actually do it well.
Because the left is walled. Yeah.
So I mean, I gotta hear that now. It's like, oh, well, okay. Everybody says, all the lefties say that it's so hard.
We're talking goals. I bet one of his main goals would be this year to be a captain in our draft league, and I think he's easily accomplishing that.
Yeah, those were some pretty big goals. But at the same time, if you don't have the goals, you don't have the motivation.
Yep.
And sometimes that can be an artificial way of, somebody else that Todd, I think, asked earlier, kind of a purpose driven.
Yep.
So I don't really have, because I'm not going to go out on tour. I don't want to get a tour card because
not going to do it.
Like we were talking about mucking up nationals and other tournaments and whatever else. It's just so much easier if you don't have it. And I'm not, at least not right now, I don't have that goal. If I kind of get good enough to where I fall into it later, cool. But
not be your cheap goal. Yes, Angel, I agree.
So, but yeah, the kind of the motivation for this year was that I finally won top 10 last year, which is our annual top 10 tournament.
Yep.
And I thought, well, this is the last year that there's always been Anthony Judd or Trevor or Alan Payne or somebody that you knew was just going to walk in there and destroy David Halseth, that was just going to walk in there and destroy the entire field.
Right.
And it happens once a year. It's the top 10 best bowlers in the city, and they all get together, and we have there's a couple games of qualifying, or there's 4 or 5 games of qualifying, and then you have a top 5 step ladder. And there's no money on it, and I got this little dinky medal for winning it, but it's one of those bragging rights things.
The prestige of the event.
Yeah. And then I've never won bowler of the year. I've been close a couple times. I think I finished second in points a handful of times, but there's always been Anthony Judd that shoots 4 300s and 4 800s or something like that. And I'm never going to compete with that. I've had the average going for me the last couple of years, but
I disagree with that. I think you'll be able to do it here,
Trevor,
especially on the left side. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, but Trevor's going to be around for a while. So that's the other thing is that I'm going to, if and when I do win it, it's going to be over Trevor, which is going to be, he's going to keep me on my toes. So I've got to figure out how to bowl more than one league.
And he's bowling one in each center now. He's bowling Fridays and Tuesdays. So this is my first year bowling back in Topeka, actually, being just Strickland and Lawrence, however many years now. So.
But and that's the interesting thing about that is that it's like, well, this is my last top 10 bowling right-handed. I haven't ever won it, and I thought it was going to be a while before I had a shot at it again. And so I just decided before I walked in the building, I'm like, I'm just going to win today. I'm just going to win today. And I'm sick of going in there and doing my best thing and whatever else. And so the approaches were weird.
That's what I heard.
And on that pair were one who was just ice skating. Trevor actually tripped, went over the line a couple times. On that pair, I threw it dead straight. I tiptoed up there and threw it dead straight, right down the middle, and shot 230 that game.
Oh, nice.
And then I went like 240, 250 to get into the...
I couldn't remember. Did you plant right-handed? Or did you slide?
I slid a lot.
Okay.
Slid a lot right-handed. I had a 9 slide pad and a 7 heel.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I know. Yeah. So I like to do the butt drift, just to run up there and skate.
Okay.
But, I qualified third for the step ladder. And then I shot 299, 270 something, 240 something, or whatever. Or 260 something, 240. I shot 18.
Was that
8, 12, 13,
was that
14.
sanctioned?
No, I don't think it was.
Oh,
but I shot 800 in the step ladder to win. But I had kind of decided, it's like, you know what? I'm not doing the. I found a zone for like the first time in my life, instead of just thinking, you know what? I'm just going to go in. I'm going to make good shots. I'm going to do the best that I can and whatever else. And instead of being worried about what I look like throwing the ball, it's like, this is the last chance I have to do it right-handed. I'm just going to win because I'm sick of the nonsense. And so I won. And so my goal this year was to at least get back into, I wanted to qualify for top 10 and at least give me a chance to win it back-to-back years, right-handed and left-handed.
Left-handed, that'd be pretty cool.
It's going to be tricky, but so that was kind of a thing. And then I wanted to be a captain in our draft league this year, which was going to be tough, but lefties and Lawrence, honestly.
Well, you're in good shape.
Yeah, I'm really
you only have,
shape.
9 weeks left, something like that?
Yeah, I'm in really good shape.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
I'm
kind of stuck in that little in-between spot.
Yeah, I just generally wanted to look like I knew what I was doing, and I'm a lot further along than I expected to be at this time, but everything was kind of there already. I've had to change some perspectives and change some philosophies, and I actually like going very straight on the left side and hooking it on the right side, and so I find myself cheating in deeper on the left side because I want to hook it, and then it just doesn't work out, and I throw it a whole lot better going straight.
Well, that's your right-handed tendencies there kind of creeping in on you. Right? Yes, the Greater KC tournaments are basically regionals. That is pretty close to accurate.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, because Brad Miller, Kyle's there every once in a while. Sherman. Buttriff has showed up to a couple. Tom Hess is there quite a bit. He lives in the area. Packy.
I know Packy and Zach Wilkins are both bowling this weekend.
Yeah, Francois is there occasionally.
He's been there quite a bit lately.
Yeah.
He bowled doubleheader weekend here in Topeka when we were in Tulsa.
Yeah, when we were in Tulsa, he bowled that, and so there's a lot of pros that are in the area. So back to how has my perspective changed? It's, well, number one, I feel like everything's gravy now, because just the ability to bowl with the opposite hand and be somewhat coordinated doing it, just like you said, I'm just so massively uncoordinated that's never going to happen. So that's relieved a lot of pressure. I don't feel like I have anything to prove to anybody. Now I'm kind of using the left-handed thing as evidence that I do know what I'm doing and I do know how to bowl. And I think that's why I've gotten so much better so quickly.
Yeah.
I thought the coordination was going to be worse than it actually was, but when you're actually doing in the right place, doing the right things, it kind of unlocks your head to just make it physically so much smoother and more relaxed. And so that actually helps with the coordination quite a bit. When I feel comfortable, I'm like, well, I can miss just a little bit. I'm in the right spot, but I can repeat shots a whole lot better. I can make shots and repeat shots a whole lot better from the left side than the right. So I don't have the physical limitation in the way. I don't have the mental limitation in the way, and I don't have any specific, like I'm not trying to be competitive anymore. And so it kind of relaxed. When I go to these tournaments, it's like, well, I want to get better. I want to actually succeed at these tournaments instead of walking in and seeing, okay, Brad's here, Packy's here, Kyle's here, Ryan Burks is here, Henniger's here, whatever else. So that's how many? That's 7 bowlers. What does 8th pay?
Yeah. Yeah, but
so
you
now,
can't really think of it that way either.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's kind of like,
because those guys are even beatable.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so I'm just bowling to have fun, and we're gonna go eat somewhere later, so I don't have to worry about it. So
we're gonna go eat somewhere later.
It's just an excuse to go to Kansas City and eat. So my motivation sometimes is in a lack of motivation, or a lack of pressure, so to speak. If I can kind of, and there's a fine line there. You don't want to take too much pressure off, because there have been some tournaments that I've gone to and I've just
get too relaxed.
Yeah, I've gotten too relaxed, like Aspen over there.
Yeah, living the good life over there.
I've gotten too relaxed sometimes, and I've gotten a little too comfortable and thought, well, you know what? I don't want to just flush the money down the toilet. I am focused on learning right now and getting some experience, but it's hard to get experience when you're just kind of chucking the ball all over the place because you're just not paying attention.
Yep. Matt asked you a good question, by the way. When you originally switched to left, was it harder getting the arm motion down or the footwork?
I can't remember, because I switched. After the shoulder dislocation thing like 15 years ago, I would go out and bowl right-handed. When I was in the pro shop back then, it was free practice, and so I'd just go out there and practice until my arm got tired.
Yeah.
And then I'd bowl left-handed, just because I kind of developed that in high school with the basketball thing.
Yep.
I think it was the arm. I think it was really the arm motion more than the footwork, because the footwork was just changing feet. And I used to have a 4-step approach, and which you start with the same foot from a 4-step approach on the right side that you do on the left side with a 5-step approach.
Yes.
And so the coordination wasn't, I already kind of had the coordination. I'd kind of built up the coordination there, because again, in basketball, I wasn't going to outsize anybody. And so I had to be quicker, I had to be smarter, I had to be more versatile, I had to whatever else. And so that just lent to developing coordination on the left side. So that wasn't terribly difficult. So I think it was more the arm motion. And I was talking to somebody else about it too, that I'm left eye dominant, so I can actually see the lane a whole lot better on the left side than I can on the right side. So I'm kind of already looking that general direction, and since I'm seeing it from my left eye, it's just a better perspective than, trying to, do this.
So if you squint, you're trying to look at something with one eye, your left eye is your better. I see. I'm the opposite. I'm right, but I'm ambidextrous at the same time.
I think most people are right eye dominant, though. I was talking about that with somebody else, but
you ever think to try two-handed? I would like to start over and throw two-handed personally, but I just won't throw it hard enough.
Yeah, I've tried two-handed. It's awful. There's no way that's ever happening.
Being able to get inside the ball two-handed for me was quite a challenge. I tried it and it was just not good. So.
Yeah, I could do it left-handed a whole lot easier than I can right-handed. Yeah. So I'm impressed with Tamer for switching. But let's see. So yeah, I don't really feel like I'm not feeling that pressure of having anything to prove anymore. And I have gotten, there's a lot of people that are impressed with the whole lefty thing. And then, you get to know some people and they don't really care. There is like a bowling clique. And I think a lot of people hang out with, you just kind of hang out with people that you have more things in common with. It's not like you can't just walk up to Packy and Brad and Trevor and Dylan and just kind of hang out. They're not going to be like, oh, well, this is only for the good bowlers over here. You have to average a certain amount to come talk to us.
Yeah.
They just kind of hang out because they're all good scratch action bowlers. And so they just have that thing in common, and they don't really care so much if you're not on that level. And I always thought, because with the bowling cliques, especially in Topeka, it was always, well, gosh, you had to be on that level to even go talk to somebody or bowl in a certain league, and you get that idea from a lot of people that they just don't even, oh, well, you're a this level bowler, we're just not going to talk to you, don't have any time for you if you're not up there on our level. And so I always got that idea in my head. Well, of course, your whole freaking life too, that you're not good enough for the you're always getting picked last to play play sports, and nobody wants you on the team and whatever else. So when you've had a whole cliquey idea the whole time, then you get into bowling, which can be very cliquey.
It is very cliquey.
Yeah,
very cliquey. It doesn't matter where, any area, any place, it's all like that. Whether it's here, somewhere else.
Yeah, but so it's not really that big of a deal. I don't have any. Right now, I'm just kind of focused on getting better, and it's gone faster than I thought it would, and I think I'm going to end up being better than I thought. Don't
get complacent. Just keep working.
Yeah. But at the same time, I don't have any designs on like higher level stuff, so I'm just going to kind of stay.
No, there's nothing wrong with that though. Your goal could be to take the KC tournaments, for example. Make more money there.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah,
consistently finish in the money all the time.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I'm happy just being able to execute now. It's really fun to throw a ball and say, "Oh crap, I meant to do that."
Now I'm just gonna start looking at you and saying, "We get to go eat afterwards."
Yeah, I know. It's okay. We get to go eat afterwards.
Food.
Anyway, that was a long, drawn-out answer.
That's okay. That was still entertaining. Bowling tournaments with those guys, I feel, is always a good learning experience. Biggest takeaway is don't get in any practice next time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ding ding. Hey Nick, how's it going?
Yeah. Nicky. All right, and then there was something else up there that I was that I wanted to get to. James answered the question about the James asked a thing about.
I think you already touched on it.
Touched on it for the last half an hour.
I think that was the one. Yes, there is one. I mean, that question I asked was the entire thought behind me giving you the topic anyway, so the long drawn out answer was expected.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's a long drawn out answer is always expected when you ask me a question.
It was the ramble, right?
Yeah, but I think again it's again the motivation now is different from what it was. The motivation now is just for fun and enjoyment. But being in the bowling thing for so long and hating it for so long. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to stop the channel thing, is because it was actually not helping my mechanics either. Because when you're getting new balls in every single month and you're having to make videos, and so you're throwing balls on conditions they weren't designed for, from angles that they weren't designed for, that you're not good at playing. And so people keep asking, well, can you show it from this, or can you put this surface on, or can you bowl on this pattern? It's like, well, it's not gonna fit on all that stuff. But I tried to show people as much as possible, and it really made my bad mechanics even worse, trying to force something to work that just wasn't working. And so that mucked it up for a while, and then I didn't even want to bowl anyway, because every time I went and bowled, it was a disaster most of the time, especially at tournaments or something, and just not having the physical ability to do something. It's like I just don't even want to bowl anymore, period, because it's just nonstop frustration. Then having to, answering questions and making videos and doing something, it's like I just don't want to do this, and it's costing all kinds of time and money, and it's just like the worst thing in the world, forcing you to do something that you can't stand.
Truth.
So
Luke Ramblin' Randy Roast.
Yeah, we figured out how to make it work. So
exactly. I know that feeling. California still closed down for bowling. Dennis, that sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
You say focus on getting better. I've been using that term to describe what I'm trying to do. How do you determine what you want to work on to accomplish getting better? I touched on something earlier about what is right for one person isn't necessarily right for somebody else.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think that working on getting better can have several different meanings for different people. And it's very hard to explain. It depends on what you want to get better at to begin with. I'd say fundamentals are always always number one. That was my goal earlier, because I drilled a plastic ball. It's like, well, I know I'm going to have problems with the 7-pin. I need to focus on that. And so I did practice a lot on that. It didn't really help. I had to get comfortable with doing it. And especially once you get in your head, it's like, well, I know I'm going to have problems with this pin. And so my shot making or my bowling early in the first couple months of league was based around not leaving a 7-pin. So if I left something on the other side of the lane or anything else but a 7-pin, I was going to be okay. So generally I'd kind of help the ball. So it's like, well, I'm not going to get through it too good, because there is sometimes you throw the ball too good and you just blast that 10-pin on the right side.
It's crazy, you can just throw it too good.
Yeah.
The game's so humbling.
But once I kind of I'm fairly comfortable with it now, and so I'm making more confident shots. But starting with picking up spares, starting with you have to go bowl a lot of tournaments to kind of force yourself out of your comfort zone, because it's really hard to replicate tournament situations or transition in practice.
That is so true.
So you have to get comfortable. I think you have to get for me anyway, I had to get mentally comfortable with what I was doing, or making adjustments, or making ball changes, or whatever else. If something's not working, I used to think, well, God, I'm so close, but if I move, what's going to happen? I can at least kind of grind it out and make it work from here. It's not going to be great, but if I move or I change balls, I don't know what's going to happen. You have to just make your best guess and go for it. And sometimes it even happens to the pros, where they make their best guess. And even with all their experience, sometimes it still doesn't work out. But you have to make your best guess. And that's what, Belmo has said on a couple of these, like, we're all making educated guesses, basically. So they have the more experience you have, the more education you have, the higher probability you have of that guess.
And that includes
working out,
deciding in mid-game to switch to a different bowling ball too.
Especially on a TV show when you have a couple open frames, or you have a couple frames you didn't strike in, and they'll just make ball changes and whatever else in the middle of a 1-game match, and most of us think, oh gosh, that's bold.
Kevin Williams threw the other day, threw 3 balls in one match.
And
still won.
Almost won.
No, I'm talking the first match. He changed the balls 3 times.
So you just have to develop a comfort level with stuff. You have to learn what works for your game. I used to be somebody that would always ask questions, try to get somebody else's input on something, because I thought, well, how much better off can you be if you take experience and knowledge and whatever else from somebody else and apply that, instead of having that kind of singular one perspective minded approach to thinking, well, this is what I think, and so I'm just going to do it and whatever else. But bowling is something to where you have to take somebody else's knowledge and apply that to your own game, and sometimes you have to throw it out the window, because what may be right for them or what may work for them may be absolutely completely terrible for you.
Yeah, you're right.
And so I've learned more to kind of trust my instincts and what I'm seeing, and to kind of go my own direction. And
experience helps too.
Experience, especially in bowling, because there's so many variables, there's so many different things. So you have to go out there and get a bunch of experience first, and figure out what you're comfortable with, what kind of makes you tick, and this is something that, this is why I don't really, again, we can go back to the college thing, is I don't like what a whole lot of college programs and coaches are doing, and that they try to make cookie cutter kids. Everybody kind of looks the same, or they have the same philosophies, and then you see the same kids from the same schools. Like, well, I bet they're going to throw purple hammers on
urethane.
We're just going to throw urethane or 2-inch pins.
You're bowling on a house shot. Let's go grab urethane,
because they want they're going to employ their collegiate skills on the house shot out at this tournament. And you can always tell, you can pick collegiate bowlers out of a crowd, because they're normally doing the wrong things 90% of the time. Because most of the time you see them out, in a collegiate environment on tough stuff, or at nationals, like, the philosophy is completely, totally opposite, different. For a lot of collegiate stuff, that's the mindset that they need to take in there. But they never then say, okay, we're on a house shot, I'm just going to find something shiny and chuck to the 5 board. No. They always try to overthink it and
They literally, well, first thing they'll do is go grab your thing out of their bag. And it's like, yeah, come on.
Yeah, it's like we're on a house shot.
You're telling me, not telling
we're at North Rock and Wichita on a house shot. You don't need urethane.
Yeah.
You don't need urethane. But what they'll do is, instead of kind of taking what everybody's already naturally good at, the best coaches will find what you naturally, the way that you think, the way what you're naturally best at, and they'll try to take that and make that better rather than kind of break it down and completely change it.
Yep.
And so that's the idea. That's another thing behind the whole motivation topic, is that what is motivating for someone else. You got it, Bear Bear? What's motivation for you may not be motivation for someone else, or what motivates you may not motivate somebody else. So just like as far as getting better, you need to find out what you're not that good at, or where you're not that knowledgeable, or find where the holes are at for you. The holes for me are always going to be in different places than they are for somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, somebody like AJ Johnson or AJ Chapman that just has that ridiculously sweet physical game, they're probably going to have holes more on the mental side or on the ball reaction reading side or something. What are you doing, Meestal? Oh, you got a toy? You good toy? But most of the time when somebody has a better physical game, most of the time they can just outbowl the lane.
Yep.
Or they can kind of force the lane to give them what they want. Somebody like AJ Johnson, it's most of the time, well, if I'm having trouble, I can just, hit it harder, or, just hook it more, throw it harder, whatever else, just force the pins to go down. But when they get in a situation where they need precision and they need touch, yes, James, I'm picking on you again in Kansas City. But when they need precision and touch, because they're so used to being able to overpower the lane, they can kind of get in that mindset too much and just go, screw this. I'm just going to overpower the lane and force the pins to go down. And sometimes it just doesn't work.
Nope.
Now, my side is outthinking the lanes. And so that's when I've had trouble on the left side so far. It's because I'm trying to be too analytical or trying to place things. There is a point in time, especially on a house shot, especially at Royal Crest Lanes, when you just need to overpower the lane. And that's never, ever been my go-to thing. It's always read the ball motion better, pick the better ball, pick the better layout, pick the better surface, outthink what's going on out there. And last night was a prime example of I was playing a little bit too much angle, and that pair, again, is 19 and 20 that Trevor hates. That's just not the greatest lefty pair in the world.
It's not.
So I moved left and just gave it the high hard one right up second arrow, just kind of floating out of it nice and easy. And I split boards on 3 out of 4 shots, threw it exactly like I wanted the vast majority of the time for the last couple games. And because I wasn't trying to outthink the lanes or outsmart myself, it's just like, okay, we'll take the lane and the ball reaction kind of out of play because they can be really tricky with the angles.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, we'll just take that all out of play and kind of overpower the lanes. And so I kind of went the opposite direction last night of what I normally do. So, even when the stream topic is my idea, I still get roasted. Yeah. So what I'm finding that I need to get better at is, now that I have the physical ability on this side that I didn't have on the right side, I need to take more advantage of that more often, because I can still see, I still have all the benefit from throwing it terrible on the right side. I still have all the stuff that I've learned and whatever else, but now I also have the ability to kind of overpower the lane or take it out of play to some extent.
Yeah.
And make shots while doing it. And so I need to dip into that basket a little bit more often, especially on the left side of the lane, because that's basically the philosophy for the left side of the lane, is to just overpower it, because especially on a house shot, it's just not going to change.
Right.
And so that's, Trevor, again, is, throw it harder, hook it more. And he tries to be a little bit too finesse sometimes. And so that's what he was talking about, his problems at Westridge. It's like, well, you just need to square up and give it the high hard one.
Give it the high hard one.
Yeah. But So getting better always lies in, the short answer is that getting better always lies in shoring up your mistakes or your soft areas. So, and that's what the topic a couple of weeks ago with the positive negativity is, by eliminating negativity, then you're just left with positivity instead of looking past the negativity for positivity. Well, you just remove all that stuff, and then you're just left with nothing but positivity.
Agreed.
So I think if you just eliminate the mistakes or the areas you're not so good in, then that's automatically going to get you better. Everything, everything will kind of connect at some certain point.
I think you're right, James. Being able to overpower probably why I strike so much of road crest. Yes. I think that's we pretty much hit all the questions.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're close enough to. I think the morning bolt's about to start anyway, so I've rambled for longer than normal. But I think just to kind of sum it up, you have to find what makes you tick first, and you kind of have to go your own direction somewhat, because nobody knows you better than you, or nobody should know you better than you. And sometimes people can get a little bit too contrarian or think, well, that feels like the easy way out because this is something that I'm good at, or this is something I already like to do. It's like we all have gifts for a certain reason. And if everybody just uses their gift to their advantage and kind of puts it together with everybody else's gifts, it's just about, it's like building a team for nationals or something. It's like, okay, well, this player does this well and this player does this well. We can, and that way it kind of spreads out the transition, or we can all play in the same area, or we can, you find your own natural talents and abilities and just abuse the living heck out of them. Instead of trying to think, well, that just feels like the easy way out, or it doesn't feel like I'm working hard enough, or whatever else. Well, that's how you get exceptional at something and even if you wish that you were better at something else,
right,
you can be really good at something that you have a natural talent for, and enjoy that other thing instead of they say sometimes, and that's kind of what ruined bowling for me a little bit. They say if you like actually bowling, just don't get into the industry, and that's
a fact.
And don't ever work in anything you enjoy doing because it'll ruin it for you.
True.
And so yeah, I hated bowling for a long while just because it was all the YouTube stuff and the staffer business and all the nonsense that goes along with that. And now that I'm not really worried about it too much, it's a lot more fun.
You're having fun now. You're just worried about where we're going to eat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, now I can just think about where we're going to eat, and the bowling is secondary. So.
Exactly.
All right, so it's 10 o'clock. Morning Bolt is getting started on Facebook, so you can all head over there. Thanks for hanging out with us, and
have a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, I think next week's topic will be direction, because this stream didn't have any.
We were kind of all over the place, but that's all right.
Yeah, but that's another important thing is, again, that this is kind of a two-part topic, is that motivation to do something is kind of worthless unless you have a direction to go. Just working hard for the sake of working hard doesn't get you anywhere. You have to put that towards a specific direction. So I think that's what we'll of course, people do go both ways.
Yeah, true. James is bashing me right now.
He's only 2-ish minutes. Yeah,
he's getting you back, and I said it's still going.
Yep. Can't wait for nationals. I don't know if it's the bowling or just Vegas. Yeah, nationals is one of those things that you just want to. It's just fun to go to, and I think.
And it's Vegas.
I'm probably going to put a little bit too much pressure on myself this year, because I think I would have been in good shape to. This last year was canceled. I would have been in okay shape, but I think I'm going to be in really good shape this summer. So
thanks, Clint.
All right. Yep.
You're bowling anybody this weekend? Good luck to you.
Yep.
James, stay out of trouble. #armrest.
Yep. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.